Hey, everybody. I'm Dr. Colin Elkin. Thanks for tuning into this webinar on the 5 reasons that your online advertising is not working. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So here we are. I've been in practice for 30 years and we've done a lot of online advertising over those years. And I've actually worked with advertising companies. So I got to learn what really works, how patients are attracted by online advertising, and the type of quality of patients that come in from different ads. We tried all kinds of different ads, from still pictures to videos to landing pages to lead forms, and really got a good feel as to what really works. And so I'm going to share with you some ideas here, potentially, of why your online advertising is not working, and give you some tips on how to change that. And if you're like me, and anytime you're on Facebook and you see all of these advertising companies preying on chiropractors and promising multiple numbers of new patients, 30 new patients, 50 new patients, 90 new patients. And I'm going to show you why this doesn't work and why we need to think of a different approach moving forward. Because realize that the majority of chiropractors in your community, in fact, the majority of chiropractors that are practicing in our profession, are doing online advertising now. And so if you don't differentiate yourself, you're really getting behind as far as your ability to attract good quality new patients. So we're going to talk about that through this webinar, and I think you'll find this will be very helpful for you. Here we go. So first of all, many of us go into this with the wrong mindset. When you think about it, when you're doing an online ad, you're attracting a patient who's not looking for you. You've made an advertisement and you've captured their attention, be it through Google or through Facebook. They may be suffering with some sort of a problem, but realize it's not an urgent enough problem, because if it was, they would have been seeking out care for this problem. So realize, let's make sure that we really understand that we're attracting them. So we have to go the extra mile to make sure that we explain and differentiate ourselves so that they know that we are then the best choice to come into to solve their issue, to solve their problem. So we have to create some urgency, because there's no urgency with online advertising. The patient sitting at home, they're surfing through Facebook or looking online, and they just happen to see your ad. It's not like they were looking for you. So we need to have a system in place to create some urgency for that person to get their problem addressed now, not later. And again, you're thinking short term. Many of us go into this thinking short term. We just need new patients. We just need new patients. And realize, if we don't put the systems in place with our advertising, with our education systems, and our procedures in the office, it's a constant revolving door. We're just constantly searching for new patients. In fact, we call them replacements, because they're just replacing the people that came in for a very short term and then left. So this is, again, something we need to consider when we start an advertising campaign. And you're attracting people who don't fit into your big vision. I often ask the question, if money was no object, what would your dream practice look like? And most chiropractors I ask that question to say it would look very, very different than what they have created. So my challenge to you is to say, let's start putting systems in place to start moving towards that vision you have for your dream practice, for your dream patients, whatever that may be. There are ways to start attracting those types of patients. And here's the big thing, is that we go into this Facebook advertising or Google advertising, online advertising, to attract people, but we haven't addressed our online reputation. Our website is terrible. We haven't put things in place. Our Google rankings are awful. We're not even on the first page. So realize that when you put an ad out there and somebody might respond to your ad as a patient, as a potential new patient, they're going to search you out. Like, let's be honest, they're going to go online, they're going to look for your website, they're going to do a search to see how you rank, they're going to look at your reviews and see how many positive reviews you have, or how many reviews, period, or if there's negative reviews. So these are also things on the back end that we need to consider if we're going to start spending money on ads to gain new patients. It's really important that we really create an online presence and an online reputation. And that's certainly something that we can help you with. We're attracting the wrong people. And this is a huge problem. So when you think about it, there's 4 types of people, or 4 types of patients we can classify. And this, I think you'll find this kind of humorous. There's what we call freeple patients. These are the people that just want something for free. They're not willing to pay for anything. They just want a free thing. So they might see your ad. Maybe it's a very low offer. Maybe they might come in to go for that offer, but there's no chance of them signing on for care in your office. They're the type of people that abuse the system. They might make an appointment and then not show up. They're really not interested in spending any type of money. They don't have the means for care, and they don't want to have the means for care. Health for them, for freeple people, typically is not a huge priority. The next level is cheaple people. These are people who always want a deal. They always want some sort of a discount. They're not willing to pay your regular fee. They want to negotiate. If you're offering care plans, they're the ones that will always say, well, I'll pay, pay as I go kind of thing, or they're asking for some sort of discounted fee. Usually those types of people we're not really wanting to attract into our office. Our goal is to say, well, we want people who really value their health. They want to value the care that you can give them, and they're willing to pay for it. So the next two levels of people are the people that we want to attract. And we can try to design our advertising campaigns to try to attract these people. And I'll explain what I'm talking about. The next stage of people are feeple people. These are the people that understand that they have to pay the fee. They're willing to pay the fee for your care, and they're happy to pay the fee for your care. And then the next group of people are what we call preeple people. These are the people that are willing to pay a premium. They want the best care. They're willing to pay more out of their pocket than everybody else, especially if you've shown and you've proven yourself to be the #1 chiropractor in your area. You've proven yourself to have a specialty beyond other offices or beyond other chiropractors in your area. People are willing to come and pay the premium for your type of care. Those are preeple type of patients, and those are ones that we love having in our office. Think about the price of your offer. This is what's really important. And when you start doing any type of online advertising, to have an idea of what type of patients you want to attract, because your offer will attract certain types of patients. So first of all, your offer price might be too high. Well, it might be too high and you're not attracting enough leads because you haven't differentiated yourself, or you don't have the systems in place or the advertising campaigns to differentiate yourself as being unique or as being different or providing a premium value service. So these are things that we need to talk about. If you have a specialty, perhaps you do special scoliosis correction, or you provide a premium type of service like decompression or some sort of modality that is higher end fee, there's ways to position yourself or position your office so that patients look at you as being something special and they're willing to pay for a higher priced fee. So we need to create the value to justify that higher priced fee and attract those people that are willing to pay that fee. On the other hand, your price is too low. And people understand. I mean, patients are not dumb. They understand that if you're offering a fee that is really, really low, there's no way that you could be the best. People know the fact that, if you're offering a fee that's too low, why would they go to you if you're not the best? So the fee needs to be really indicative of the care and the service that you're providing. So we need to provide the value and justify the fee with that value, and vice versa. And here's the thing too, is that we see a lot of offices now offering new patient visits, including the first adjustment. So in other words, you've just told the patient that you devalue your care right from the bat. And basically it's saying that you're willing to accept new patients and start caring for them no matter what. And so my suggestion to you is put a higher value on your care, offer, the first consultation or the first exam, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the person's going to qualify for care. You have to accept them as a patient before they qualify for care. So in other words, raise your bar for the people that you're willing to accept. And that's really, really important when you're positioning yourself with an online reputation in the community. You're advertising a commodity. Well, what's a commodity? A commodity is something that you can get anywhere. And I use a great example of like a box of nails. If you went to the hardware store, let's say you went to Home Depot and you saw a box of 500 nails, a certain size nail, and that box of nails was $5. But you saw over at Lowe's that same box of nails, the same size, was $4.50. Obviously you're going to go to Lowe's to save that 50 cents, or you're going to go to the place where the lowest fee is, and maybe that's an example that'll show you what a commodity is. So in other words, your competition for a commodity sets the price. So what happens is we as chiropractors, we start advertising similar to what everybody else is doing, and the general public, the new patients that see your ads and see everybody else's ads, assume you're just a commodity. They assume that every chiropractor does the same thing. If they want, for instance, lower back pain relief, they assume they can go to any chiropractor and get the same type of care, the same type of treatment. People don't understand that there are significant differences in technique, in procedures, in abilities, in qualifications. People don't get these things. So they look at you as a commodity. And when you haven't differentiated yourself as something very special, then what's going to happen is they're going to go to the person who has the lowest price. And your competition then starts to set the price. And so if you see all these chiropractors advertising and the price of their offer starts to go down, 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 what happens is everybody else starts to follow suit. So it's really important that we start to differentiate ourselves and make ourselves unique so that therefore we can justify the price that we're willing to charge. When you position yourself as unique, you set the price point. So you realize that the general public doesn't have an idea of why you're different. If you're just offering back pain relief, if your advertising is just offering back pain relief or some sort of pain relief, they can get the same thing at the medical doctor, the physio, the osteopath, the massage therapist, the naturopath, and many other chiropractors. So it's really important that we create systems to help you to define exactly what it is you are delivering so that we can have an advertising campaign that displays and portrays that very, very accurately so the public can look at you and say, this is something different. This is what I'm attracted to. This is the person that I want to go see, no matter what the offer is, no matter what the price is. The fourth problem is that your goal is just to get more new patients. And here's, I'm going to try to expand your thinking here, is that if you're in practice for any length of time, you're set up in your community and your plan is to be there, maybe you have a lease on your building, you have a goal to be there, your family's growing up in that community, you don't have a plan to move, or maybe even, you have a plan to move or sell your practice to create value in your practice. One of the most important things you can do is really build a good reputation in your community. So what happens is that in our advertising campaigns, if our goal is just to get new patients, what happens is people don't know us. And when they don't know us, they don't trust us. People have scam alert. There's a lot of things going on now, especially online and all kinds of advertising. And realizing in the chiropractic profession, there's chiropractic ads all the time. People will see them in every city and every community with multiple chiropractors all the time. So it's really important that you become unique. So they don't know you, they don't trust you. And if you're only running ads, you're always selling. And you may have friends or you may have colleagues or you may know somebody who every time you see them, they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to get you to do something or trying to get you to buy something. And what happens is if that's the only thing that you represent, people will start avoiding you. They will see your ads and click off them as fast as they can because they always see you trying to sell. So our thinking is that, and our strategy is to help you build this online reputation where people start to know you and embrace what you stand for. So the goal is to change the mindset from just getting more new patients to building a list. And building a list and a following. That's where things really get interesting. When you start to build a list and a following, then you start to build this audience. And the audience starts to really like the content that you're projecting and really like the content that you're sharing. So when you start to share your story, you start to build your brand, you're starting to offer self-help freebies. Maybe it's nutrition guidelines, maybe it's recipes, maybe it's core strengthening exercises, but your marketing now is not just about trying to acquire new patients. It's about providing content that the public can use and benefit from. Because when you can provide something that gives them benefit for free, they're going to be very quick to come to you and be very willing to pay money at the time when they feel they need that change. So building that list and building that community is so vital for you. And think about what happens is that when you are doing any type of advertising, you attract a number of leads. And let's just say in a month, you might attract 50 or 60 leads. Let's say it's 60 leads in a month. Well, maybe out of those 60 leads, let's say, maybe 40 of them actually book an appointment. So there's 20 leads immediately that have lost. They got interested, they responded to the ad, but they never really booked an appointment. And out of those 40 that booked an appointment, maybe only 25 of them actually showed up in your office. And out of the 25, patients that showed up in your office, maybe only 10 of them actually converted to care or signed on to a care plan or stayed for anything more than what the offer gave them, whether that's the first adjustment or the initial consultation. So out of those 60 leads, only 10 people actually converted to care. So that left 50 people that were really not interested in being part of your practice or weren't converted well enough to say, this is valuable enough for me to stay with. So here's our thinking now is that why don't we take those 50 people and put them into an email campaign list? And this is part of our marketing strategy now, where we can constantly feed them with emails. They've already opted in, with their name and email address and phone number from the first ad. So now we're just giving them some content. We're just building our own online reputation with them. We're just sharing maybe some freebies, maybe some tips. We're keeping in communication with them. And maybe it's not even a frequent communication. It could be once a week. It could be a couple times a month, but it's enough to at least keep your name in front of them on the screen. So maybe it's 3 months down the road, maybe it's 6 months down the road, maybe even it's a year down the road, where one of those leads that never started care initially when they saw that ad finally decide that, yes, it's time for me to get some care. And guess who they're going to come to? They're going to come to you because you've been constantly on their mind, constantly in their inbox. You've been providing them freebies. And that's where it gets really, really beneficial. That's where your online advertising dollars can be extremely beneficial for you when you start that email campaign. And that's all part of our strategies, moving forward. Not many marketing agencies, in fact, hardly any marketing agencies are taking that stance. When you think about it, the email campaigns, and there's actually an algorithm that in a professional service type of setting, for every 1,000 patients that you have, you're probably going to make approximately anywhere between $2 and $5 per patient. So when you think about that, if you have 1,000 leads that you're constantly marketing to on a monthly basis, you're collecting an extra $2,000 to $5,000 on a monthly basis for every 1,000 people. Well, you start marketing, and if you're collecting 60 leads a month, every year you're probably collecting 1,000 leads. You do that for 3 or 4 years, and that's going to build up quite a significant audience for you over that time. So it's a little slower return, but at least you're not losing all of those leads that clicked on your ad but never did anything about it. And the other thing that email marketing does is it does help you share your story. It builds your brand, your personal brand, which is really what people want to buy. It's, if you look at any type of long-term patients that have stayed in your office, they stay in your office because of you. It's not because, it's lesser because of the care that you're delivering, but it's more because of the relationship that they've created with you over time. And the last one is that your procedures don't convert. So you haven't addressed enough the procedures in your office to meet the patient where they're at and give them the right systems, put the right systems in place to help them to become educated as to why they need to be there. So you haven't communicated a clear vision of what it is you're delivering. You may have it in your mind of what you want to deliver or the dream practice that you want, but you haven't communicated that clearly. And it's just a case of putting the proper systems in place, the proper team in place who understands that vision to share that with every single patient consistently as they come in the office. And the other thing is you're selling treatment, you're selling pain treatment, but not the payoff. People don't care about what it is you do. They care about what you're doing does for them. So having the systems in place to help them to understand the payoff for them, the benefits to them, that's what helps people convert to care. You're talking about all your procedures and not the transformation. You need to be here 3 times a week, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do this, and we're going to provide this modality, and you're going to have to do this home care. You're almost talking them out of it because you make it too hard. We need to focus our attention on the transformation for that patient and give them a package to say, this is what we're going to deliver for you, and this is what you're going to get out of it. And you've not clearly outlined the what if. And this is a big thing in chiropractic offices. People don't understand that if they have a condition, especially a spinal condition, a subluxation, a spinal dysfunction, nerve interference, if people have that, they need to realize that this is a progressive type of condition and it is where it is now, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the same in a week, in a month, in 3 months, and so on. So the problem they have is only going to get worse. And so that procedure, that communication has to be part of our scripted communication with the patient so the patient understands that, there are there are things that they have to consider if they choose not to get care, right? So that definitely has to be part of our communication with that patient. The other thing is you're not using an outcome measure. If patients come to see you and offices are not using an outcome measure, the patient understands that pain is the biggest outcome measure. And what happens is that when they get out of pain, if they're not connected to an outcome measure, then they quit. And the other thing is if they have an expectation in their mind about how long they're willing to put into this before the pain's gone, if they don't get out of pain, then they quit. So having that outcome measure, whether it's measuring an X-ray change, scoliosis correction, lateral cervical curvature correction, could be a postural picture, shoulder heights. It could be bilateral weight scales. It could be a surface EMG or some sort of a thermal scan with a neurological measuring device or a SEMG. There's all kinds of different ways to have those outcome measures. It's really important to make sure that that is part of your communication and part of your care so the patient knows that it's less about them getting out of pain and more about them restoring proper function. And the last thing is patients typically are not engaged in their care. If you're not getting good conversions or you're not having good retention, it's important to make sure that the patients are engaged in their care. So providing some level of home care, whether it's, maybe some strengthening bands or potentially postural equipment. It could be sleep rolls. It could be, Pedibond rolls. It could be traction devices or head weighting or body weighting. But as long as the patient knows that part of the responsibility is on them so that it's a daily activity, it's a regular activity, that their spinal correction is a team effort, then they're not blaming you when they don't get better. And again, you have to be in a position where you can't take all the praise when they do get better. It's a team effort. And when it's a team effort, there's better collaboration and in most cases, better continuation and better retention in your office. So these are all things that we'll talk about. These are all things that will help you to implement in your office when you're ready to do that. So let's discuss your options. It's really get to the point where it's time to really become famous in your community. Be okay with that. People want to be around people that have a big vision. So share your big vision with as many people as possible, and we can help you create the online presence to do that. So it's time to make you famous in your community. Let's put the systems in place to nurture and convert all of those leads, not just the leads that come in for care or convert to care, but those leads that thought about coming in, maybe never showed up or booked an appointment and didn't show up, or maybe came in for 1 or 2 visits and then quit. Let's have a system in place, and we can help you do that to make sure that you're addressing all of those leads and keeping in communication with them so the chances of them coming back are much, much higher in the future. And it's time to identify your uniqueness. And if you don't train regularly with your staff to say, what really makes us as an office unique? Why would somebody come to see us as opposed to the chiropractor across town, as opposed to the office in the, down the street? What makes us different? And really be well scripted and well versed on how you would describe that. And it could be the subtlest little things. It could be the decoration of your office. It could be the procedures that you use. It could be your adjusting technique. But what makes you truly unique? It's time to build a massive following. And the more massive a following you have, the better reputation you have, the more trust you start to build in your community. And it's time to implement those procedures and train your team to get results. And that's certainly something we can help you do, to implement those procedures and have regular trainings with your team so everybody is on the same page. And again, it's time to build incredible wealth and freedom, for you and your family. Chiropractic is a beautiful profession, but it does require that we be present all the time. So if you're feeling like you're overwhelmed, if you're feeling like, you have to put so much time in to build your practice and to make a living and support your family, let's talk, because there are ways to help you change and transverse your practice into more of a business with multiple income streams and help in attracting the proper people to help you build a great business that not only serves you, serves people in your community, but serves a whole bunch of people on your team as well. So if you're interested in talking more, there's a link below. You can click the button, set up a call. We'd be happy to discuss options with you. And let's see if we can get your practice closer to the dream practice that you have in your vision for yourself. I'm Dr. Colin Elkin. I look forward to chatting with you.